Yo,
What up, man?
what's going on?
How we doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, glad we were able to get a time set up.
Yes, sir, man. Yeah, I think I've probably been following your page for at least like three years, probably, I want to say.
That's like OG for this page.
Is it? Okay, yeah. I don't know.
I think 4 years. I think 2020 is when I started, so it's pretty close. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because 2020, 2021, I was training with like Ian Walsh and Baggett, and then they always like posted your stuff or something like that.
Nice.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so we can basically go like whatever you want to ask, whatever you want to get into. Like we said, like 15 to 30 minutes or so, and we'll just roll through whatever you want to go. So let's do
All
it.
right. I guess first question, what is your stance with like supplements and everything? Like what do you suggest like the baseball player takes or needs to take?
Yeah, I mean supplements. I go fairly light on the supplement recommendations in most cases. What I'll always start with is like actual food and nutrition, right? So like basic guidelines there are the food that you're getting, have it be actual food, know the source of where you're getting the food from, and if the food is being grown or is being raised in a way in which it was designed to be like raised and grown, then you're gonna get a lot of what you'd otherwise need to get from supplements from your food, right? So like I start there, and then if we're doing that and we're getting that, then like some basics, I'll recommend Shilajit for everybody. Just unless you have soil testing of where you're getting like your fruits and vegetables from in like your animal meat from, I recommend Shilajit because it's simply just like a base source of trace minerals that we're supposed to get from our soil, but because farming practices are pretty rough, we just don't tend to get that. And so the Shilajit is a good supply of that. I'll have like a lot of college athletes or professional athletes ask like, am I going to get tested for it? Is it legal? Like it's literally a whole food supplement that's just like it's kind of like eating dirt. Like you're just
All
eating
right.
organic matter. So it's gonna be that one's gonna be fine to take. Um, that's pretty much the only one that I'll like widely recommend for everybody. Outside of that, it then just that plus the nutrition piece of it. Outside of those, it basically comes down to like, okay, do you have specific things that are going on? And then from there, like even from there, I'm much more of the mindset of like, okay, how do we cultivate you to be able to produce that?
Yeah.
You know, so,
And then like do you have the Shy Legit you recommend like linked on your page or whatever? Like
yeah,
that
it's the Life. Yeah, and
life?
I
Okay.
have a discount code for it because Life has done heavy metal testing on it, and the amount that you actually get like packed in is for the price that they sell it for is the best that I've found.
Gotcha. All right. And then diving into like the nutrition aspect. So like right now, like for the past like probably like month and a half, I've only ate what I've cooked other than like maybe twice in the past month.
Nice.
I've been getting into that routine and it's like one time like I went to Chipotle and it was terrible and the rice was garbage and
So have you noticed? Have you noticed the difference?
I noticed like I feel better, but the problem I'm running into is like I'm not eating enough. Like I've been very, like I would say, I've been eating very good. I've always done eggs for breakfast every morning, but in the past, then I'll be like Chipotle for lunch or like,
Yeah.
usually cook up my own dinner, but sometimes I'll get lazy. But the last month and a half, I've been very getting into the routine of cooking everything. So it's been like I usually do four eggs, one egg white every morning with a banana. It's kind of been my breakfast, and then for lunch and dinner lately, I've just been doing chicken, rice, and vegetables or ground beef, rice, and vegetables. But it's like I'm spent like I'll buy like 5 pounds of chicken. I've been going to Walmart too. I don't know if you probably wouldn't recommend me going to Walmart, but it's
I
been
mean,
the cheapest way to go, but it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
15
yeah.
bucks for 5 pounds of chicken. Like that lasts me 2 days. And then it's like I'm trying to not eat as much of it so I can save on it. And then I've lost like 10 pounds in the last month. Like I think like I've definitely been losing some muscle and haven't been feeling as strong in the gym. So I don't know if you have any recommendations with like groceries and that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, so if the finances are an issue, then it would be like, well, there's two different options. Like one is like figure out how to make the finances not an issue. I also understand that like if you're in
Yeah.
college or you're in school, that's a little bit tougher to do. So as far as getting in calories, that's where like I don't personally do protein powders or protein shakes or anything like that. But that could be a source where, or that could be an option to get in a good amount of calories for a little bit like better price. So like, and even I'd even say with the meat that you're eating, chicken in general, I've just it's fine. I have found that it doesn't really have as much. It doesn't fill me up as much as something like beef or steak. I mean, steak is beef, but like beef, bison or something like that. Bison is going to be more expensive, so that's probably not in your wheelhouse either. But like chicken seems to be a little bit less filling than some of the other more like I guess red meat type of stuff. So that could be a little bit of a transition to make, as well as like let's say you were to do a shake where you get, you know, you have protein powder, you have milk, you have maybe some yogurt in there, and then you have some fruit or something like that, right? That could be
Yeah.
a way, and maybe some you could put some good quality peanut butter in there as well for some extra calories. Like you kind of combine all that together, maybe even a couple eggs, like raw eggs, you could put in there. But you could probably make a 1,000 calorie shake fairly easily just out of that.
Yeah.
That could be
Okay.
a supplement in at the end of the day, start of the day, whenever works best for you.
Gotcha. All right. So I'll add that in. Like, would you recommend like just taking that, drinking it before you go to bed type thing?
Yeah, it's whenever you're hungry, whenever works best for you. Like
Uh,
it could be in the morning as a breakfast type thing. It could be later at night or in the evening. It's just whenever actually works within your schedule.
okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I think. Oh, and then you used to like the BPC 157, right? Back. I don't know if you still. Uh,
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's just it's you know it depends on the person because it's illegal for like college athletes and professional athletes.
was
So
it? Okay, I don't know that.
yeah,
I
so
feel like
well,
I know a ton of pro guys that take it or used to take it at one point, but I don't know.
yeah, well, so it just kind of comes down to. I mean, I do usually like my process for that is if someone asks about it and they're eligible for it, then like okay, sure, then we'll do it. But if I'm doing a rehab with somebody and they don't even bring it up, I usually don't bring it up either, I seem
Gotcha.
to get similar results on both sides,
Huh. Yeah, because
right? So
I took like the oral pill of it for like 1 month last year, and it was like I just felt like I got like huge like over this month it was like I was on steroids, like I got huge, but like I was working out and everything always, but I just felt like I never got sick. I never like I just
yeah,
felt good all the time, but maybe that's just a byproduct of it healing the gut and keeping the gut health good. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, it definitely has it definitely has a systemic effect, you know. So it could be whatever the specific mechanism is. Like, yeah, it sounds like it definitely helped. But again, from my perspective, I also think like we have the ability to stimulate out of ourselves that because like the first time I did this was a while back or maybe like a year 2 years ago now where I did like my slow lower and rebound rep experiment where I did it for like 3 months where I was just doing that every single day. I wasn't on any peptides. I wasn't on anything. I was just taking Shilajit and I was eating food. I was like, it seems like if I was on steroids, this is what it would feel like.
Okay.
It's just like, but we understand that we have like you can stimulate your body to produce more testosterone by the way that you are, right? If you require that your body produces more of some type of hormone, right, by the stimulus or by the way that you are, by the stimulus that you give it, your body's going to respond by producing more of that,
Huh.
right? And so I think the way that you train and the way that you stimulate your body and the way that you are with that can also have a massive impact if you know how to do that to then have your body actually produce more of those hormones or produce more of that kind of beneficial growth. Because like the way that I thought about it is, let's give arbitrary number, right? Like let's say that we have 0 to 100 available of we'll just say testosterone, but whatever it is, right? We have 0 to 100 of this is the capacity that we have in terms of how much we can produce. An individual that knows how to stimulate, let's say 50% of like the tissue or the emotion or the like the spirit that they have, whatever you want to call that, right? Let's say we have an individual that can tap into 50% of that, but there's still like 50% that they don't even know exists. They're probably going to get like 50% of this testosterone that's going to get produced. If you learn how to use emotion, how to use like deeper levels of spirit, or again, whatever you want to call it, if you learn how to tap into more or even deeper levels of like musculature, right? and let's say you get to like 90%, you're now going to be able to produce 90% of what you have the capability to produce in terms of, let's say, testosterone,
Hmm.
right? And so it's your ability to tap into what you already have there.
Okay. That's I've never like heard of that being described that way before. That's pretty cool though.
Well, it's like what I mean. It's you're not gonna like sell that. Like there's no because it's not a supplement. It's not a. It's just like how do you pull more out of yourself,
Hmm.
right? And to me, that's a big part of what training is.
Yeah, like kind of changing your mindset in the way of like, when you get to your last rep or whatever, like you train yourself to be programmed to keep going and push through. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, it's all of it because there's also like it's your mentality. It's also like your physiology. So how you actually use your tissue, right? Like it's your emotion. It's your spirit because it could be let's someone that goes and runs I don't know 100-mile races or 200-mile races and they win all the time. They're going to some level be able to tap into that for themselves. But that's not necessarily, let's say, as a baseball athlete, that's not necessarily the way that we're looking to be able to tap into that. It's a little bit different, right? But it is that like, so it's a little bit more than just like mentally being like continue going. It's like okay, how do we actually continue going? And the what I use a lot for this is like the slow lowers, right? So there's a period of time where I did a lot of ISOs where I'd hold, let's say, a deep push up in the bottom of the position. End of 5 minutes, I just fail. But I was just trying to go as long as I could, but I would fail at the end, right?
Yeah.
That's different than the way that I do slow lowers now, where the goal is to be able to press back up at the end as if I didn't just lower. So it's actually like physiologically, I'm doing something different that is more efficient because I'm not failing with the same amount of work.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So like there's actual like musculature that is being used differently than when I was just doing the ISO hold.
Because
In
it's
fact, so it's
getting,
all different levels of that, right?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's like you're saying, like it's getting used to failure by failing at the end, but instead now you're switching to getting used to going like one rep beyond the failure.
Well, it's like it's being able to do the same amount of work without failing, because that is a physical representation that I've learned how to better recover as I work,
Hmm.
right? So now I can add even more onto that. So like let's say whereas before maybe it'd just be 5 minutes. Now let's say I could do 5 minutes, but with a bunch of weight added, and still be able to press up at the end. So it's like that upper. It's like raising the level of capacity,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I
but
got
it's actually using the body in a different way to do that. That's more efficient.
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, and then like where I'm at right now in my rehab, I had shoulder debridement where I guess there was I think I told you, or I put it on like whatever I signed up for the first call. I like wrote all this in that little bubble, but that was a while ago. But
Yeah.
I had tore my leg, like I had basically I had Tommy John my freshman year at Old Dominion. I got up to 96, but my shoulder was like always bugging me. I hit 96 for the first time, felt great. I like had this day where like I was rehabbing shoulder impingement the whole fall there, whole year, and then like eventually like my arm never felt good, but then I just had one day, it happened to be my first day of like live ABs where I just like woke up and was like, oh, my shoulder feels back in place again. And then I shit on everybody, and then I also benched 225 for the first time that day, and then I jumped like 35-inch vertical for the first time that day. But then, like a week later, my shoulder was killing again, elbow was killing again, and then I like threw like 88 to 89 in 2 games, got everybody out, and then I blew out my elbow like a week later. I'm just kind of giving you my story as quickly as I can. I don't know if I'm boring you or not, but all
Well,
right.
no, that's fine. But like, what's the question? What's the
Okay,
question?
so
Yeah.
basically, Tommy John, 2 years later, labrum was torn the whole time, bicep tendon was detached, I guess, the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And then this fall I was throwing really good again, and then one day I caught a football like this overhead, and then I felt a pop in my shoulder, and then it was like all my strength was gone on my shoulder, like I couldn't raise like a 2 pound dumbbell over my head for like a month after, and then I got debridement 6 weeks ago. So right now. I am supposed to start throwing again Wednesday. Um, so I was gonna ask like in terms of like I want to work with you. I just don't have the money right now to do the one-on-one coaching stuff. But I was gonna ask you like in terms of like a throwing program, like first week back in a throwing, how would you like? I don't know if I can ask you this without like I'm not paying you obviously, but how would
Yeah,
you
I
like
mean, well, go ahead. It's go ahead or finish.
yeah, like how would you structure like maybe like the next 4 weeks of like throwing just starting from day one? Like I don't
Yeah.
know if you do things differently where it's like you want to go 5 days a week throwing right away or like you go
No,
slow.
I mean, I'll say like I actually don't do the throwing programs. Like
Oh, okay.
so I do the physical preparation.
So
It,
you do all the lifting and like strength and
yes.
conditioning basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where I used to do throwing programs. Like I can do throwing programs, but I don't do those anymore. So,
Gotcha.
but also like it's a little tough because obviously when I work one on one, like I'm gonna get your full history, not not
Yeah.
just like, hey, in 30 seconds, here's everything that happened. So I don't want to like,
Yeah.
it's a serious process. It's a lengthy process. Like I don't want to try to minimize that into a couple of minutes and just give like not give that the respect that it deserves, kind of thing. Because I also don't know exactly how the rehab's gone. I don't know what you've been doing. I don't know how it's feeling, or like I just don't know how prepared you are with everything. Um, what I will say as a kind of more like a generality is my role, I guess, when I think about returning to throw after a surgery, after something like that, is I want my athletes to be able to do everything that we could do in training. So deep layback position, bunch of weight hanging off, internal rotation stuff, impulses, uh, you know, rebound bench, overhead work. Like I'd want them to be able to do everything that I could throw at them and them have no feeling or sensation with it. Or at least like they're like, I'm good, dude. It might not be perfect every single day, but not still be having issues, not still be having problems with anything. Because what I found is if the individual is still having pain with something, or they're just not sure about something, and we try to start throwing again while they're still having that issue, it tends to not go as well, because then that's like there from the start, versus if it's literally just like for 2 or 3 weeks the athlete's like, dog, I'm ready, there's nothing that I can't do, like when can I start throwing? That is a much better, cleaner scenario to get back into the return to throw.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's how I felt for like the last 2 weeks is like, hey, everything feels good.
Yeah,
And like I've been
it's
trying
good.
to
Yeah,
like I haven't like bought any of your stuff, but I've been doing like a lot of like the super high rep, like just raising my arm up and down
sure.
all like every day, like get everything moving and that type of thing. So that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah.
Yeah.
Um and then for like workouts and stuff, do you like doing like 4 lifts a week or like lifting every day or like what do you generally like to what do you think is like best for like baseball players to do lifting wise and like terms of a schedule?
Yeah, so if I'm working one on one with somebody, we will do what, 4, 8, 9, 10, like 10 to 11 sessions a week. Um, for guys that are training hard and train like I mean, I guess for college and professional guys, it's mostly that, where it's like 4 days a week we'll go like 2 sessions. One of the sessions will be shorter, but there's generally like the main session, one will be upper body focus, one will be lower body focus, and that'll happen twice a week. And then there'll be secondary sessions off of that. That's kind of like arm care slash. I don't like the word arm care. We're preparing the arm. And then there's also like some spine stuff that goes in there. And then on kind of the days in between, it'll either be like full arm preparation plus spine rotation work, or it'll be, if they have something specific that's going on, then we'll tackle a little bit more there. So it's like I have my kind of the main sessions that we'll utilize, and then the secondary sessions plus the days in between are more like specific to either their sport, or if they're having specific issues, it's specific to that. So that's and also like with guys that have different schedules, obviously we'll work with them, because some athletes have to lift with their teams, some don't. As we get into spring, like guys are having games and stuff, so it just kind of depends. But general structure with somebody that doesn't have anything going on is like, yeah, we're training pretty much every day. Sunday might be 30 minutes or off once in a while. But other than that, we're training every day, and 4 days a week. We usually train twice a day.
Gotcha. Cool. And then like I'm trying to work on getting my own like kind of like online training stuff going, like using social media and everything. So I was gonna ask like what advice would you have in terms of like getting started and like putting out like a program and like coaching offers online and like getting people to start kind of, buying from you and everything.
Yeah, I mean, well, like what interests you in my stuff?
It was different. Nobody else is doing what you're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah. So
And
I'm
it catches the eye.
yeah, like I can talk about the way that I do it, right? Other people do it differently. But for me, it's always been I need to be training myself first because then the content that I put out and what I say, like it just flows easily because it's just a natural side effect of what I'm already doing. It's like the way that I run my business or the way that I run, yeah, I guess my business and how I create content out of that is like I'm first and foremost trying to figure out what I have the potential or capacity to do, like as a human being in terms of like my physical potential, right? And then, like I said, what I create just rolls off of that naturally.
Yeah,
Um, so there's that aspect of the actual content creation, like that's how I do it. And then for the actual structure of the business or the offers or whatever it is, um, that it depends on like how you want to work with people, because like there's obviously like one-on-one options, and so I mean when I first started doing one-on-one stuff, I think I charged like 100 or 150 bucks a month for that. So it's just like you have to start with where you're at. But there's like one-on-one options, then there's also options where you can basically have you know a training program where like it's understood that it is the same training program for everybody, and that if somebody signs up that they go on that, right? So that doesn't take like one-on-one. So
yeah,
there's that, and then there's also like one-time purchases and stuff. So it just depends on like for me, I like to have enough options to meet the person where they're at because not everyone can do one-on-one or even needs or wants one-on-one. So that's why I have like vital programming is basically I create the program once and everyone that signs up for it, they're on that. Right.
gotcha.
So I have that as an option, but I also have one-on-ones as an option, and I have one-time purchases as an option. So that like wherever the person is at, it's like, okay, let's start there and then go from there. Um, so yeah, like it's like first of all, be able to create just I don't even think about it as creating interest, but like I'm training myself and I'm talking about it. And then
Gotcha.
have kind of all that stuff set up on the back end so that when people are or if they are interested, then it's there for them to be able to take advantage of.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, I think I want to say that's all I got. I feel like I had one more thing. I'm trying to remember what it was though, but yeah, it's not coming to mind right now. But yeah, but I mean, hopefully, like my goal is to like get that shit going in the next like week or so. Like I've been working on like getting everything set up for a while, and then, I mean, if I'm making enough, then I'll be able to pay you to do the training and one-on-one. So that's kind of the side goal as I go.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. And I didn't say too, I mean, at some point, like, yeah, you just have to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
And I mean, both of like the training as well as the other stuff is just like, because that was a mistake that I did make in my first business where I thought I had to have everything set up on the back end before I could do anything. And I just like never really got to the point where the business actually started. Whereas
I
it's
feel like that's kind of where I'm at the past
right,
or
right. So
so.
like at some point you just got to start doing it and talking about it. And because it's like, if you spend all your time working on this back end stuff, getting all set up, and then you announce it, it's like, and then no one cares because it's just like you've had nothing there, right? So it's not like no one thing is a super major event that causes any massive ripple. It's just like building momentum over and over and over again,
Yeah,
and that's something that you learn as you get into it. But
gotcha. Yeah, because like I've had a lot of TikToks like blow up and stuff, and I've like had like I've there's probably like 300 DMs in like my TikTok just sitting there that I'm like, I don't want to respond to these until I have something for them to like actually buy.
yeah,
So that's kind of where I've been at. So I'm like worried I'm gonna lose the momentum and then have nothing. But
right, I
I mean,
got you.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and then do you have caffeine or no? Jeez. Because like just in your videos and like right now, you just seem like so like you're on another level.
Yeah. Well, dude,
That's just training yourself to be that way.
yeah. I mean, if I had caffeine, I might run through the window. So caffeine probably wouldn't be a good idea for me. But again, that it comes down to like my philosophy, the way that I think about things is like I have the ability to access energy pretty much
Yeah.
nonstop. If I want to, I can figure out some way to get it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't need caffeine. I am caffeine.
Yeah. That's the vibe I was getting.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like in high school I used to be that way where like I had all this energy and everything, but like I don't know, maybe just because I got into caffeine that I lost it, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because in high school I would like the thing that really took me from like upper 80s into the 90s was like I would just drink half a bang before I pitched, like only when I pitched, and then I would just be able to move way better, move way faster. Everything was just like operating at another level. And then, but I only when I pitched though, because if I had it, like I would get more out of it by not having any of it in between.
yeah, yeah. Because otherwise, you just get used to that
Yeah,
stimulus, used to that input.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
No,
interesting.
I get that, and it's also like so. Yeah, you can kind of desensitize yourself to that, but then also things can accumulate over time as you get older. Like if you have a bunch of losses, I think those can accumulate, and then they can to some degree lower your energy. Basically, by a loss, I just mean like you've set something as something that you want to do, and then it gets like knocked down, and you don't achieve it, and then you do another thing, it gets knocked down, you don't achieve
Yeah.
it. Another thing knocks down, you don't achieve it. Like those things can kind of pull down the energy of people as they get older. If you're able to take care of those and process those and handle those to where you're just able to look at them, see them, understand why they happened, and they don't affect you anymore. Like I've done a lot of work in regards to that. Then for me, that's what kind of allows the energy to then kind of come back up and through, just the same way that it was for me when I was younger. So
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, that's interesting. Uh,
yeah,
like I thought I was gonna get drafted out of high school. Like I had like 30 scouts coming to my first couple games and elbow pain, and then I couldn't throw, and then got back up to 96 freshman year, and then boom, Tommy John, and then got up to 90. Shoulder was always bugging me too much to get past it. So I've kind of had that. So maybe I gotta
yeah, exactly,
deal with that shit. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, exactly, because those things can build up.
Yeah. But I guess that's all I got for the call.
Sweet. All right, dude. Well, yeah. Good luck with the business stuff, and you know where to reach me, and keep getting after it.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing this call for just the sake of doing it. I definitely got a lot out of it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah. All right, man.
All right, I'll see you.
Talk to you soon. Peace.